Hello and welcome to the channel, Gav Axeman Spins, with a special video looking at my Small Faces vinyl and CD collection. One of my favourite bands of all time, certainly one of my favourite 60s bands. Small catalogue, but kind of perfect. I'm only looking at the 60s stuff. I know they reformed in the late 70s, but I kind of ignored that because it wasn't the full proper lineup, and the reputation of those albums isn't great, so I've ignored those. I'm just going to stick to the 60s catalogue because that's all I'm really interested in, to be honest with you. Great band, loads of bad luck really, you could say, in terms of management, record labels. They were on Decca and then Immediate, and Immediate certainly ran into all kinds of financial problems, which I think did them no favours in the 70s, and it took a long time, I think, by Kenny Jones in particular to try and get the rights to the music back, find the original tape. So they've been doing some good archival reissue projects over the last kind of 5 or 6 years, coming out slowly but surely. It's definitely a quality over quantity kind of setup, and the catalogue in the 90s did get a bit of love. It was quite poor when I first started buying CDs. The sound quality of the Small Faces stuff was really poor, and I was really pleased when they finally cleaned up the tapes on CD, and then in later years they've done an even better job. But a small catalogue, 3 studio albums, 2 period compilations that gather up singles and things like that, and then I've got a few comps I'll show you, a few box sets, a cool circular tin CD. I wonder what that album or that'll be, so, and then stuff like that. So I'll rattle through. Great band, 3 studio albums, in my opinion, all essential. I think you also need some comps to gather up the singles, and then you're good to go. So we'll start with the vinyl. First album, called Small Faces, from '66. This is like they're playing in a small club in the height of the 60s, cool kind of swinging London scene, and this is brilliant. So sweaty club, few cover versions on here, couple of the singles. Highlights for me are obviously What You Gonna Do About It, which is a bit of a mod stomper. The opening Shake, great song, has You Need Loving on it as well, which Robert Plant must have listened to quite a bit, because that's effectively the lyrics to Whole Lot of Love on that song. But a brilliant debut, along with things like the first couple of Kinks albums, the first Who album. If you put all those in a kind of a playlist, you can kind of imagine yourself at the Marquee in '65, jumping about to these bands. So brilliant live, raw, very much early days. No psychedelic on this. This is a pure mod stomper album, a lot of Motown and soul influences on it. Great album. So that one was called Small Faces, and when they split with Decca and started on Immediate Records, just to confuse everyone, they put out a second album also called Small Faces, or it could be called Small Faces, Small Faces, Small Faces, Small Faces, depending on how you kind of look at it. But this is a brilliant album. Just to confuse everyone, in America it was issued as there are but 4 Small Faces, and they swapped some album tracks out and put some singles on. So that's again worth having. But this is the pure unadulterated UK version. Highly recommended. Things like Get Yourself Together on there, Green Circles, Up the Hills to Bedfordshire is on there, I think. Eddie's Dreaming, All Our Yesterdays, Talk to You. Brilliant album. So pretty essential, as all of their studio albums are. If you haven't heard this, go out and get it. Get Yourself Together. What a song that is. The American version, as I say, it does add the Immortal Tin Soldier and Ichiku Park, which are the big hit singles of '67 and '68 for them. So does it improve it? In my mind, one's the proper album, this isn't, but a great listen. That's all I can say on that one. So, but the highlight of the catalogue, I hope you're sitting down comfortably, is the immortal Ogden's Nut Gone Flake. More famous probably for its circular sleeve than anything. A #1 album in 1968. Contains the big hit single Lazy Sunday. One side is songs, the other side is songs with some narration by the legendary Stanley Unwin of gobbledygooky made-up language fame, and it is just a delightful album. It's fun, it's got some hard rock in there. The title track that opens the album is a big swirling psychedelic instrumental. Got Reenie about a lady of the night down the dockyards. Lazy Sunday, as mentioned. Roll It Over, great song that is as well. So it's just a brilliant album. Second side has the story of Mad John going off on a journey, and he goes on the back of a fly. It's just bonkers. Bit of a sly poke at I think the Who and the pretentiousness as they perceived it of rock operas and Tommy, but it's a brilliant album. So there's a nice circular mono reissue, and then I did pick up a stereo coloured vinyl as well, courtesy of Sainsbury's Supermarket, which you don't often go into a supermarket and spot a good cool bit of vinyl, what I did on that day. So those are the 3 albums that they did. Period comps, well worth getting. So Decca, just before the second album proper, put this one out called From the Beginning. It's gathered up all the singles and B-sides and stuff that wasn't on the first album. Also, the very controversial My Mind's Eye, brilliant song, but the band were really unhappy because that was a demo version. It wasn't meant to be released. Decca just shoved it out, and that's what caused all of the kind of label swapping. And then when they split, one of their final singles was The Universal. Steve Marriott felt they weren't being perceived seriously. They were viewed as a bit of a comedy act on the back of Ogden's, and in particular the success of Lazy Sunday, which I think was a UK #1. So they called it a day. The Small Faces became the Faces, recruited Rod Stewart. The rest is history there. And they put out The Autumn Stone as like a final goodbye, which is good because it brings both the Decca material and the immediate material together. But the star of this is all the unreleased stuff that would have potentially been the 4th album. In particular, the title track's one of the best things they ever did. So it's a wonderful album, this is actually. Now, it has been reissued. There were some issues with tape speeds and all that, but the original's fine in my opinion. But the new version, which I'll show you in a bit, does definitely improve it. This is the only UK original I've got, and it's on that lovely immediate label, but great album. So in terms of the catalogue, that's it really. 3 albums, couple of comps, some others that are well worth getting. The Decca years, if you want like a blast through their hit singles and B-sides, this is great because it's this rock roots. You can find these in record fairs and stuff, cheap as chips, and it sounds absolutely one of the best sounding records I've got. This is, so I'd highly recommend this, and actually any others in these rock roots series. They're really cool. Got the little Dansette record player there, but that's a good one. That's the Decca one, and then if you want to kind of balance it out and get some of the immediate stuff, this Small Faces greatest hits, the immediate years is well worth getting. This is a mono kind of version, and there you go. I mean, look at the track listing on that. You know, Here Comes the Nice, Get Yourself Together, HQ Park, Tin Soldier, one of the best things they ever did. I need to tell you about Song of a Baker that's on Ogden's. That's a fabulous song. Lazy Sunday, The Universal, Wham Bam, Thank You Man, which is one of the last things they recorded. Really should have been a single, so that's well worth having. And then that was it really. Kenny Jones, as I say, has been keeping the flame alive. So he's launched about 5 or 6 years ago the Nice Records, and the inaugural release was this one, Live 66. Great double live album, well worth getting. This is actually, and if you got in early, Kenny did do a nice print there, a little gig kind of flyer, and yeah, so well worth having that. In terms of CDs, as I say, the ones to avoid are probably the 80s kind of cheapo budget bargain compilations, but the ones I'm going to show you now are all worth having. So Decca, first 2 albums, did expanded versions of the debut and From the Beginning. I won't go through all the tracks, but they're, as you would expect, they're absolutely packed with stuff, so well worth getting those. The ones that I was really happy with at the time, they did the Small Faces in 1997 with some bonus tracks, i.e. they effectively put all of those singles from that period on at the end as well. So that was good. But then many years later, Charlie did a double disc version as well. So these are well worth having. So that's the second album. Now Ogden's, I've got a few copies of that, a couple on vinyl. The 1997 CD was quite nice because they did do the circular kind of sleeve and also put it in the CD so it was easy to find. So that's well worth having. But then there was a 2-disc posh version as well that came out after that. And I also did manage back in the day, sound quality in this is rubbish, but it does have the wonderful tin, so a nice circular tobacco tin of the album, which I probably can't even get it open, but there you go. There you go, that's they printed the track listing on the back of that one. And Autumn Stone, that got its 1997 expanded reissue, but they did this year actually, a brilliant 3-disc version with loads of extra stuff on, and then the original album is on the 3rd disc, but with some of the issues with tape speeds and particularly the live tracks. They cleaned everything up, so it sounds wonderful. Really nice 3-disc version. This is the second one on Kenny Jones's kind of reissue campaign. If you want some cheap things, if you're looking on something like eBay, these are worth having a look at. The Decca anthology does what you'd expect, and then the immediate years anthology, which is the Darlings of Wapping Wharf Laundrette, and that has all of Ogden's on it. Everything on there that you could want is on those 2 double CDs. So cheap budget version, well worth getting, and sound fine. There's the live CD of that 6.6. Got that for a few quid. They're quite cheap at the moment. You can find those online. Did buy a CD singles box set because it was numbered, and that has recreations of the 60 singles. I bought that because I used to have a 6-disc multiplayer CD player, and I used to love putting a couple of albums in and some singles in there as well on my weekly journeys to work, so that was good. Right, so box set time. So if you've dipped your toe in the water and you're happy with all of that, there's a couple of big box sets that are well worth getting. So first one, the Decca Years. This was a 5 CD box set, and this is pretty kind of conclusive. If you just bought this, you'd have everything you need and more. So disc 1, the greatest hits, so all the singles and B-sides. Disc 2, the debut album. Disc 3, From the Beginning. Discs 4 and 5, rarities and rare outtakes, BBC session. So you can't really go wrong with that. Came in a nice one of these lift-obby thing with booklets and all that kind of stuff. So well worth having. Now, not to be outdone, the immediate years also got a big kind of box set. Now this is a big one. So like so, very minimal on the sides, and then you just get the nice drum skin head kind of thing. So I'll lift it off. There you go, and pop that over there. So the star of the show here is a very nice book, big thick thing like so. Here comes a nice, so the discs are 4 discs in the inside cover there, very well protected, and they are cool. They're those kind of black discs, which are Fabo. So this is the immediate years outtakes, alternate versions, more discs at the back, and a very nice kind of booklet that's, as you would expect, got everything you would need to know and more. And then also within the box, loads of what I would call gubbins. So I'll show you that. That's probably the best way of showing. But if you do a bit of internet research, if you fancy a really deep dive, this is well worth getting. Kenny Jones approved, and the a big archival kind of set, well worth having. There you go. And there's a couple more to show. Ogden's got its own box set. So what's nice about this, they did it like this. So you get a mono album, a stereo album, and then an outtakes album. And for the 50th anniversary, well worth getting. Art, prints, books, you name it, it's in there. So that's well worth having. One of my favourite albums of all time, so that was pretty essential for me. And then last but not least is the big wonderful Autumn Stone set. I have shown this on the channel previously, but lovely gold foil. The original, some were signed by the photographer. You could get an art print, but nearly £100 more, so I waited and got this at a far more reasonable price. But there you go, the Small Faces 1965 to 1969 really is when they called it a day. Small but perfect discography, well worth getting. But if If nothing else, go and find yourself a copy of Ogden's Not Gone Flake, one of the greatest albums of all time, and certainly one of the best of the 60s. Thanks for watching. Gav Axman Spins, over and out.